everyone, and welcome back to Range of Sounds. Today we are going to go over 8 of the best bass strings for drop tuning. Now, drop tuning is often associated with metal music, but it doesn't always have to be the case. There are a lot of examples of songs that are done in drop tuning that are not metal. So the 8 strings we are going over today, we have 2 from Ernie Ball. Again, I will go over these in detail later on in the video, give you the specs, the current pricing, and all of those. We have 3 from DR. We have the drop down tuning, we have the Black Beauties, and we have the Highbeams. Next we have a pack from Elixir. We have Dean Markley. And last we have a pack from RotoSound. Now, to keep everything consistent, how this will work is I'm going to play every song on my Yamaha. It's a TRBX174EW. It's got a ceramic split coil here and a single coil pickup here. I'm going to keep the volume all the way up and the tone all the way up on this, so it's going to be the same for all of these songs. I am using the Harkey HD50 bass amp. I'll have a picture there on the screen showing you my settings, so that's going to be all the same for all 8 strings. What I will do is I will play a song that I've written before. I will play the bass part by itself, and then I will play the bass part within the song as well, so you can get an idea of how these strings sound within the mix itself. The tuning I've decided to go with today is drop C sharp, so that's C sharp, G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, going from the lowest string up to the highest string on the 4 strings of the bass. If you were playing guitar, you would add an A sharp and a D sharp to that as well. So it's not a super low tuning, but it is very popular, especially among metal music. So a few things you need to be aware of with guitar strings or bass strings when you're in lower tunings. Things I really look for are, 1, what's the tuning stability? So how well can these strings stay in tune at these lower tunings? Sometimes the tension gets kind of messed up when you go to lower tuning, so it's really important to have a string that can stay in tune. And obviously the feel of the string is really important as well, the overall durability, things like that. Now obviously I'm going to be switching strings out fairly fast, so I'm not keeping each string on for several months, but I will keep these strings and use them again later.
Alright, so first up on our list is the Ernie Ball regular Slinky bass. So these are going to run 50 up to 105, so that's pretty standard for bass guitar strings. So if you look at the back, it gives you a little diagram of the tone profile there. You see the output's pretty high, treble's pretty high, mids are pretty high, and then the bass is about where the other ones are as well. It's listed as the world's #1 bass string, so I'm a huge fan of Ernie Ball strings. It's pretty much what all my guitars run on, at least all my electric guitars anyways. This particular set of strings right now is running at $19.99. On Amazon it has over, I think, like 15,000 reviews, and it's like a 4.5 or 5-star review, so very good string. So I'll play through the part that I'll be playing in the mix here, just to kind of let you hear the sound of the bass by itself. So it's got a pretty low range. It's a little bit mid and trebly, on the mid and trebly side. But overall, I really like the feel of the strings. I've had them on the bass for a while, and they're staying in tune fantastically. I didn't even spend a lot of time stretching them out, so they're staying in tune very, very well. And overall, I would definitely use this string on my bass.
So next up we have the Ernie Ball Cobalt Slinky strings. I apologize, I broke the package when I opened this up. Do have another confession to make. I broke the low E string putting this on as well, as you can probably tell by the color difference. So I really apologize for that. I'll play a little bit on the higher strings more so you can kind of hear the difference between these. It's a phenomenal string. So they're marketed as the first and only Cobalt string, and they feel way different than any other string I've ever played before. I really like these strings. As you'll hear, it feels like I can articulate the notes a lot better. They feel a lot softer than some of the other bass strings. Overall, I just really like these strings. They're a little bit lighter gauge as well, so 40, 60, 70, and 95. But here's how it sounds by itself, and then I'll play it again with the music in the mix. Again, here's how it sounds in the mix. Next up we have the DR DDT, or drop down tuning. So these are strings that are specifically designed for drop tuning. As you see, they start at 45. The Ernie Balls, first ones we looked at, started at 50, so they are a little bit lower gauge. They do feel thick. I really do like the feel of them though. These are actually the medium version of these strings. They have strings that go heavy and super heavy, so the super heavies I believe start at 65 and then finish at 125. So those would be great for those like drop A tuning songs. So these are round wound steel, stainless steel strings. We'll go ahead and play it by itself, and then we'll put it in the mix like before. So to me, they feel like they have a much lower end than the Ernie Balls do. The Ernie Balls, both of them seem to have a little bit more middle and treble into it, and these really have that low end. So let's hear how it sounds in the mix. Next up, we have the DR Highbeams. They are round wound steel, stainless steel. They are again the 45 through 105, which is pretty standard for bass guitar strings. These strings are a lot different than the other ones. So They have a more metallic kind of punchy sound, so it really cuts through. Sometimes with metal songs and drop tuning, you sometimes lose that low end in there, and it's hard to really pick out some of the notes. I don't think you'll have a problem with this one. The strings are also, they feel softer, not as soft as the Slinky Cobalt, but much softer than the other two strings that we've gone through so far. So we'll listen to it by itself and then again in the mix. Kind of has that like a buttery sound, I guess would be a good word for it. I really like the tone of these strings. By far my favorite so far. So here it is in the mix. Next up, we have the Elixir Nanoweb coated 45 through 105s. They are a little bit pricier than the other ones. They're running at about $43. They are round wound steel, nickel plated steel. They have a really nice, warm, kind of bright tone. I really like these. I don't know if they would work particularly well with really heavy metal sounding songs, but overall as a bass string, I really do like these. I would use these, I think, more in a classic rock kind of setting, but we'll show you how it sounds on its own and then in the mix. Apologize for that, just get my settings right here. All right. Now, I could edit out all of my mistakes, but I think it makes it more real. I mess up all the time. I do edit out quite a bit of stuff, but just to show you that, you know, I do mess up, whether I'm not quite ready for timing or whatever else is going on. So let you know it's okay to do that. So here it is in the mix. Getting towards the end, we have 3 left. So next up is the Dean Markley Cryogenic Activated. So again, they're 45s through 105s. Their thing is that they're blasted with a quick shot of liquid nitrogen. So the idea, at least what it says here, is that it creates a better tone, more resonance, and more longevity. So we'll see if that holds up to it. I don't particularly like the feel of these strings, but we'll see how they sound. So again, it almost feels like my fingers kind of stick or get stuck on the strings. So I'm not a huge fan of how they feel. They sound pretty good, but I'm not a huge fan of how they feel. All right, let's see how it sounds in the mix. So I apologize for my playing there, but my finger just kept kind of getting stuck on the string. So this is by far my least favorite so far, really because of how it feels when I'm playing on the fretboard. Again, I like the sound, I just don't like how I feel like I can't really get up and down the fretboard with these strings. All right, next up we have the RotoSound 66, 45 through 105. So I had never really heard of this brand before doing these videos. The feel is okay, better than the Dean Markley's, but probably second to worst feel-wise. But they do sound pretty good. They're running at about $26 right now on Amazon. They are stainless steel. One thing I will note, you see how it's kind of red here at the end? They were by far the easiest strings to put on. That red yarn or whatever's on there really helped guide it in there. Super easy to bend, so by far the easiest ones to replace. So let's check out how it sounds. Last but not least, we have the DR Black Beauties. So there's a reason I saved these for last, because I think they look super cool on my bass. So I'm going to keep these on for a while. So they have this black K3 coating. They are coated steel, round wound again, 45s through 105s. So let's check out how they sound. They feel cool, I guess. They feel different than the other strings. Not like the Cobalt string different, but just kind of its own category of difference. So let's see how it sounds. Kind of a really warm, mellow sound. So let's see how it sounds in the mix. So there you have it. So overall, we're gonna go with the DR Highbeam. So they pride themselves in being handmade. They have a really metallic-y punch. You can really see the difference between the low notes and the high notes. They are a little bit softer feel as well, so it makes them very playable. So this is the #1 overall winner. The runner-up's going to be those Ernie Ball Cobalts. I really like the feel of them. Again, they're really bright. They can kind of cut through the mix. They're reasonably priced as well, and they are just kind of unique. So the third choice, kind of on the budget. Again, it's a little bit higher than it was before, but around $26, and that's going to be those RotoSounds. Okay, so again, a brand I never really heard of before, but I did like how they felt and played. Again, they were the easiest ones to put on the bass for sure. But overall, I think aesthetic appeal-wise is going to be those Black Beauties. I really like how they look, particularly on my bass with this mango wood finish on the Yamaha. So there you have it. Hopefully this was informational for you, and if you're looking for bass strings, this will help you make a better choice. Until next time, thanks for watching.